Welcome back. Let's talk about Teddy and Bam Bam. You guys remember this? I think they are from Big Brother Niger, something like that. But they are now, I think Teddy does a podcast now. Bam Bam now does Atalugo. Atalugo. She was on the movie that went viral not too long ago on Amani Oboli's platform. Everybody was talking about it. I think within like a few hours, it hit like 1 million views, something like that, something crazy like that. But they are married in real life. They are married in real life. I think he's an actor too. I'm not sure, but let me see. Teddy, is Teddy an actor? Teddy is probably an actor too, but I know Bam Bam is an actor. Okay, Bam Bam Olaomi Adeni Bunyo. Oga, that name is heavy. Anyway, so they're married in real life, and I've heard them a few times. I think they're headed in the right direction. So I like to point out this kind of stuff and also to paint a picture that no matter what your career is, whatever you want is possible. Okay? I still use the word possible, but highly possible. Highly likely that you will have a successful marriage if you know how to have a conversation. Why do I say that? Let me play this video for you and then we'll take it from there.
Become a reality. How has marriage been for you?
Marriage has been a journey, right?
Right.
We're two imperfect people who fell in love with each other. On the journey of being in love, with the baby came into the picture, we got married, and for a while we were wondering what were we doing here. We wondered if it was even the will of God in the first place, you know. I started to evolve as a woman in the marriage. I started to discover myself. He started to discover himself. Our differences started to clash. There were many times we questioned why we are even here and what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I held on to God. I held on to his promises for me. In the marriage, he gave his life to Christ. He met God in the marriage, and he started to understand seeking God's face concerning everything, running things through God as regards to both of us, because we did marriage counseling, we did therapy. I did marriage counseling. We did marriage counseling. I did therapy because I was confused about a lot of things, because our differences almost started to outweigh what brought us together in the first place. You know, where we felt like the foundation wasn't right, you know. But God's blessings make it rich, add no sorrow. But challenges and trials doesn't mean that it's sorrow necessarily. And we learned that on the job, right? As long as I was interested in the perfect will of God per microsecond, I kept weighing it like, God, now you know, because I love this man. We have kids in the mix. Are we heading towards a divorce, or are we going to spend the rest of our life with each other? So I saw every phase, every challenge as training. I saw it as an opportunity to be better for me, better for you, better for the kids. And if not for God, you know where we would have been. And my greatest joy through the journey of marriage has been him having a personal relationship with God. It just made it easy. That has been the sweetener. And I would advise anybody dating, if you can keep sex out of the mix till you're sure of getting married, just do it.
If you can.
That is what scripture says, the bed undefiled. And then when you're before marriage, seek counseling. Ensure that you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically stable. You know, when I got pregnant, I was a mess. I was so confused. It stressed him. It confused him. He didn't know what to do with me again. Because postpartum is a real thing. Even, is there anything like prepartum? The stress of pregnancy and all of that, that phase was intense. And many other things that came in the mix. So marriage has been a learning curve, and us falling in love with each other over and over again. And with each trial that we overcome, it just gets sweeter.
On the other side. Awesome.
All right, so it's a lot that was said, right? All right, so let me tell you some things that really stood out for me. The first thing that stand out for me is not the details of what they're saying. Okay, it's not the specific. That's why I laugh at people when they try to use words and all that kind of stuff. I use words because we have to communicate a certain way, but in the grand scheme of things, you have to watch my behavior. If you had the privilege of watching my behavior over a period of time, not a one-time behavior, it has to be a consistent type of behavior. That's where you're going to get the most important information from. But who's watching anybody? So the best we have is our words, so we have to use it. But what stands out for me is the fact that they are capable of having this conversation. Okay, and this conversation, this small clip that we looked at, is him asking a question, an open-ended question. I always talk about open-ended question. What does marriage look like for you? And then listening throughout a 3 minute and 50 seconds of what she sees marriage as. It's not the specifics of what she said that matters. It's the fact that he's capable of actually listening to that long. Now, they're on a podcast, but I put it to you that, are you able to do this in real life with your partner? Right? Are you patient enough to ask open-ended questions? You are always asking yes or no questions. Tell me, has marriage been good for you? Yes or no? Just tell me yes or no. It's a stupid question. It's a stupid question. And I need to say it like that. It's very important I say it like that so you can understand where I'm coming from. How has marriage been like for you is a better question, because it allows the person the freedom. It gives them a safe space so they can express themselves. By the way, they get to think. And by the way, the specific word of what they said is still not it. What's more important about all of that is being able to feel safe enough to share that with your partner. And most of you cannot have simple conversation about relationship with your partner. That's the reality. A lot of people find conversations with their partner very awkward. Why? Because they're always asking stupid, close-ended questions. That's why. You're asking questions that put them on the edge, that make them feel the need to protect themselves. They can't tell where you're coming from. They just know that something feels like an attack with your questions. I'm not judging you. I'm just letting you know that you might want to take it up a notch. You want to ascend to another level. Okay? These are the skill set you need. So tell me, what does marriage look like for you? Are you able to do, especially if you're a man, are you able to do that and be patient for a couple of minutes and not have an answer at the end? Being able to say, that's awesome. Interesting. Because you actually find it interesting, not because you're pretending. So that really stands out for me in that. And I'm not saying that's what they do at home, but I'm letting you know that's an example of what you need to do at home. So shout out, I wish them best of luck. Shout out to them. I watched them a little bit. Ever since I've seen Bambam on that movie, I've paid a little bit more attention to them. She also mentioned learning on the job. This is the reality about marriage. Now, I don't want to discount premarital counseling. I do think you do premarital counseling, but I don't want you to put premarital counseling on a pedestal. As a matter of fact, with our program, we suggest, you can call it what you can interpret it how you want, but anything else you do in life that's worthwhile, you treat it this way, including your career. We suggest not just premarital counseling, we suggest premarital counseling. We suggest another one at your 1 year, as part of how you mark your 1 year anniversary. Another one, 3rd year anniversary. How many is that? It's about 3 right there. Another one, your 5th year anniversary. That's about 4. Premarital, 1, 3, 5. Then 7th year, that will be the 5th type that you need to take. Okay. Paid, yes, paid. Something that you will take seriously, not some free stuff. Another one, number 6, 10th year anniversary. Obviously, that's a milestone, something you should celebrate, but you should also celebrate it by making sure you're doing some check. Make sure you're doing well. Make sure you understand there's certain assessment, the specific assessment that we have for that year. Another one you can jump at this time, 15 years, because you've done 10 years. That means, especially if you're doing it like that, you have enough in you to take you almost through a lifetime. But you're not gonna do that. You're going to still make sure. So you need to do 2 more. So making a total of about 7. You need to do 15 and 18. Okay. So 7 anniversaries, 1 premarital. Why do I say that? Because human beings evolve. You're discovering yourself. What did she say? You're learning on the job. right? In general, there's nobody hiring. I know we can't compare jobs or business too much to marriage, but it should be higher. The way we take it or take it seriously should be higher then, right? There's nobody hiring you to a job thinking that you have no experience at all. At least you have to be able to say, I help with house chores. I led my siblings. They want to see some level of experience, right? There's nobody that's going to hire you when you say, I just want to come. Please hire me so I can come and learn on the job. Imagine that. Do you know why they don't hire people like that? Because they're not going to take that risk. You know what people take that kind of risk with? Their marriage. She also mentioned God, because let me tell you something. Sometimes you're not going to have the answers. Okay? She also mentioned imperfect. She said, two imperfect people coming together. This is the reality. This is the reality. She mentioned sex until marriage. I think that's cute. That's nice. But you better have other things going on, like everything else I've said. Always evolving, always learning. She talked about when she was pregnant. If she talked about when she was pregnant, that almost sounded like a contradiction, but not really. Okay, she gave a bunch of tips in that 3 minutes and 50 seconds, 49 seconds to be precise. The reality is that some life events, natural, some of them are natural, some of them are what you desire, will hit you like a ton of wind, and you won't know what to do with yourself, and very likely your partner will not know what to do with himself, herself, or both of you. And it might be very confusing. Bottom line is that marriage is just like life itself. It's a learning curve. Take it a little bit more seriously if you want to make it work. All right. With that being said, that's all. Let me know what your thoughts are about that video. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. I'll be right back.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.